Come join me. I turned the recorder on. I'm trying to get Lisa to do another video with me. So again, Ron with Radiologic Technologist.com. I'm a tech. She's a tech. We're here to answer some questions. And I see somebody posted another question, and I haven't told Lisa what the question is yet.
Oh, great.
I see somebody asked another question. There's no comments yet, and our group's really good about leaving lots of comments. So I've wrangled Lisa into answering another one with me because it is kind of basic. The question is, what is a great way to study for biology? I'm struggling a little and need advice. So Lisa did not have much of a science background, if I remember right. So we met at Arizona State University in a psychology class, and then went on into healthcare, and that's a whole nother story. But I had been taking biology because I thought I was going to be pre-med at some point, and I had taken a lot of different biology classes. Did you take biology?
I took,
So I know you had an Xray School.
well, not biology. I took A&P.
Wasn't there a radiobiology?
Well,
A&P.
so I took A&P and I took geology, I think. Yeah, those are my two lab sciences.
When you were studying for A&P, that's a lot like biology. What were your study methods? Do you remember?
For A&P, I had a partner. So we had lab partners, and it was labeling bones and doing things like that. So the key for me was having a partner that we could study, that we were in the class together because we were doing the same thing. So I think it's important to have somebody to study with, especially when it's something you're struggling with, maybe somebody that understands it better than you, that can help explain it to you.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps, because then you can bounce ideas off. Because one of the things we hear a lot in healthcare is see one, do one, teach one. Mm-hmm. And so somebody's got to show it to you. You're not born knowing this stuff, and then once you see it or you're lectured on it, then you kind of go over the notes yourself, do it yourself. I like to make note cards. I do, the question on one side and the answer on the other, and my kids now even have big stacks of note cards. They use that same method. But then once you kind of get to where you feel kind of comfortable with that knowledge, then you get with a partner and start reviewing it with your partner. And that's the see one, do one, teach one, at least in that regard. Because once you start to try to teach how you see it to somebody else, it kind of opens up another perspective, because you're trying to get the point across to someone else. So for biology, to me, there's always those coloring guides. There's coloring books for anatomy and biology, and that, might seem kind of elementary, but just coloring the different muscles or the different parts of a cell organism helps to drive home what it is you're looking at. And it gives, there's sensory learning and there's audible learning. Visual learning is a very common learning that a lot of people use. There's a lot of study methods that involve associating a picture with an item. So like the one is a gun, two is a shoe is an old methodology where, say you have to memorize, I don't know, the parts of a cell, and there's the organelles and the Golgi bodies and all that stuff. You pick the first item, like the Golgi bodies, and you say one is a gun. So the gun is the item. So you picture pointing a gun at the Golgi bodies, and you kind of think about that for a minute, what that would look like. And then two is a shoe, and you're trying to remember mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Two is a shoe, mitochondria. Picture a mitochondria wearing a pair of shoes, and put that picture in your brain. And then when it's time to go take the test, you're thinking of the cells. So you just go through, one is a gun, two is a shoe, three is a tree. And you go down, I can't remember them all, but it goes all the way to 10. And it helps you to recall an image, which then helps you recall the item. So I think for the most part, that's how I got through a lot of the biology and microbiology, and I had zoology at one point. It's really the same kind of advice for chemistry or any of the classes. It helps to have models. So if you're doing anatomy and you can get your hands on a skeleton and take that apart or put it back together, is that one of your kids? One of our kids?
Yeah.
What does it say? Do I want to know?
Can I get some toilet paper and that toilet paper?
So you're being texted from the other side of the house
Yeah.
with a request for toilet paper. That's why cell phones were invented right there. Anyway, so now that we're totally off track, I hope that helps you a little bit. I have articles on the website, which is always going to be something I say because there's over 100 articles on the blog. It's the Radiologic Technologist.com. And if you use the search bar and just type it in, you know, study guides, biology, whatever. I have a pretty lengthy article on there about different methods of study, and it goes through the parietal principle, which is the 80-20. 20% of all the material you study is what's going to be on that test, and the other 80% you just learned for nothing. Much of the stuff you go through in life, you know, 20% controls most of what we do. If you learn 20% of the words of a foreign language, you will know a majority of that language or be able to speak it fluently. It's the same 20% that you say the most, the rest are outliers. So in that blog post on how to study, I think it's the one that's titled How to Pass Your Boards. I go through all different kinds of setting up an egg timer, because studies show that if you'll study for 20 minutes and take a 5-minute break, that you do much better than if you sit there for 5 hours cramming. You need to take little breaks along the way. So go check out that article. I'll put a link to it below. And if you have any other questions, let us know. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see when new videos come out. And hope you have a great day.